Hey everyone, Eric Thompson here with Mrs. Thompson and baby. Welcome back to the channel this evening as we are considering number 72 on the AFI Top 100, Shawshank Redemption, of course, and as always, truly hope that you are doing well. Now, we just finished watching it. In fact, that was the last, what's happening right now on the screen.
The names of the cast members are rolling.
The credits are rolling, and so we got rid of that to talk about this amazing, incredible film, 1994. An amazing year for film, of course. We have Quiz Show. It's pretty good. You've probably heard of a little film called Pulp Fiction. That was happening. The Shawshank Redemption. And Forrest Gump. Wow. And so really some titanic, tremendous efforts in film. And unfortunately, between Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption were kind of the snubbed films for that year. But I just think it's a masterpiece. And so let's just start with your reactions first. Because you've not seen this movie yet, or before.
I had,
but
no.
You have now. So sum it up for our viewing audience, what you thought about this, that.
I didn't really like it that much. I honestly, if I didn't see it again, I wouldn't be sad.
Say more.
I didn't really relate to anyone, and it felt it's really cliche, like the themes, the friendship and hope and whatnot, and it seemed kind of overdone to the point like, oh, most of these guys in prison are pretty good guys, and the warden and those people are really the evil guy. Like, just to the point that it was too black and white. Like, it wasn't very nuanced the way that they dealt with that. You know, does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Dealt with what?
Because you want to think, like, oh, prisoners are bad guys, and then, you know, the people in charge of them, the wardens and whatnot, are just, the prison guards are keeping order. So, but in the movie, you got it switched, where most of the guys in the prison, like, they're kind of buddy-buddy friends, they're pretty good guys, right? At least the ones that were, you know, Andy and Red and their friends.
Sure.
Good guys, and the warden and the prison guards are the bad guys. But just to the point, there wasn't enough character development for me to understand why anybody, like, why is this person a good person and this person is a bad person, whatever. And I realized now, maybe I was thinking about it, just there aren't any women in it at all, except for in the very, very beginning when his wife is having an affair and she doesn't say anything. It's just like, there's a lady making out with somebody, and so maybe that's part of it. And I think that's kind of standard with Stephen King things, I think. Or at least these things that are movies, like Stand By Me and, what's the other one, The Green Mile and stuff. Like, there's barely, at least there's sort of some women in that, and they're not in significant parts. But maybe that's part of the reason.
I'd say pretty significant in The Green Mile. His wife and the warden's wife.
Not that, but anyway.
What? We know that's significant. When Coffee goes to the warden's house and he heals the wife, that's the turning motion.
She's not really that significant. It's everyone else in relation to her.
Yeah, but you're still referencing women as a plot device, which in this film,
she's just a plot device. She's not really a character. But in this, yeah, they're not even a plot device really, except in the very beginning that his wife cheats on him. But I think I talked to that. So I just, to sum it all up, I didn't really like it that much, but that's okay.
So why do you think this movie would be on this list?
Not having seen any other prison break / prison movies in general, I feel like it's probably exemplary in that, you know, like, best of the best of that. I don't know if you would say that's a genre type of movie.
I don't know what Wikipedia defines it as. What would they say? I'm just curious. American drama. That's all. Yeah.
Well, I mean specifically
Yeah.
prison break / prison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You could be in prison without
Mm-hmm.
getting out, being part of the plot. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's all I got right now.
So consequently, I mean, do you think it remains relevant for today's audience, for what we see in film today?
Again, not having. I don't think. Besides The Green Mile, I don't think that I've seen another prison film, something that I would assume would be influenced by this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think I could speak to that.
Mm. Well, of course, with respect to the film itself, we have obviously Tim Robbins, who did not have the best of careers, but we have Morgan Freeman, who absolutely did and has and is continuing to have the greatest of them all, really. Stephen King, of course, although I don't think this is the first of, this was the earliest of his books that were made into film, but obviously he's, many times over have people, rendered his novels, his novellas in this case, into film. Of course, I think that what makes this film unique as a prison break film is that it's not a prison break film. For example, The Great Escape. Have you seen that?
No.
Classic war film, World War II, very popular. The whole movie is about them getting out of jail. But this movie is not about them getting out of prison, or they were in a POW camp, right? And they're burrowing, and the whole movie is about the operation and trying to cover it up and bribing the guards and all this. But this is not about that. Only at the very end, in that little vignette, did we see how he did it. Really, this movie is about what's in the title, redemption, or at least that's what they're aiming at. Of course, it wouldn't be in the title if it wasn't somewhere. At least Stephen King probably would not have misled us. But that's a good way to get into sort of some reflection. It's called The Shawshank Redemption. So where do you see redemption in this movie? Who's redeemed? How are they redeemed? Where is the redemption? What do you think?
Maybe that's part of the reason I didn't like it. Like, I don't know. You tell me. How was he redeemed? He didn't do anything wrong in the first place. He got stuck in prison for a while. Eventually, he got out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like his character really changed at all. I could see where you could say that Red did, although I feel like that was sort of forced on me, like in those little scenes where he would go in every 10 years and say, oh, you're up for parole. Do you think that you've been rehabilitated? Whatever. I don't remember what word they said,
Sure.
but and then he would say, a couple sentences, and you could see his attitude changing. But like I said, I felt like that was kind of forced. It was so short, and.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say, Dufresne's character does change, because of course when he comes in to the prison, he seems to be quite desolate. But then the break is pretty natural. About halfway through Act 2, as it should be, he tells Red that they should have hope. And immediately Red's like, you can't believe in hope. Hope doesn't work in here, inside. But Dufresne says, no, it really does. It, is what carries us through. It's what carries us forward. And so somewhere in there, in the first half of the film, Dufresne chose hope for himself. Maybe it was, as we learn at the very end, when the rock came off the wall. Who knows, when the actual moment was when he decided to have hope. But he had seemed quite not resolved. Oh, whatever. He had seemed to accept the fact that he was unjustly accused and sentenced, and now was going to pay out, a penalty that wasn't his to pay. And so we're meant to think that he redeems himself, that not within, but without, although kind of going from within to without, inside and outside the prison. Because the prison obviously is a huge, living, organic, but stone metaphor for, for the soul, for the spirit. Can you be in, can you be out? Although I'd like to suggest freedom, which is why I said in the last video anyway that I was going to talk about it. But it's for good reason, not only because Jesus said, of course, the truth shall
set you free.
Absolutely. And then, of course, elsewhere, he whom the Son has set free is free indeed. But especially the truth shall set you free, which is very much blanket statement, lots of ideas, lots of applications. I just found this little story that's among many that are cool, but you might enjoy this, or maybe not. One reason many have never realized their bondage to sin in this instance may seem very paradoxical, but it is nevertheless very true. It is because they have never tried to get free. Hope, right? That's in Dufresne's case. He's saying if you never have hope, you never try, then you'll never realize how captured you are, how much in bondage you are. There is a yard where a dog is heavily chained. The dog, however, is fast asleep, and so he does not realize his bondage. Later on, we may even notice the dog eating his food still chained, but as the food is close to the kennel, his chain is not irksome, and he is thus still unconscious of his bondage. But soon comes the owner of the dog, who, forgetting the chain, calls the dog. The animal springs up, eager to reach his master. What happens then? All his efforts are vain, and now for the first time he feels the irksome and restraint of his fetters, the chain. It is exactly similar with sin. Try to get free, and you feel your bondage. This, of course, realized in an incredible way through the story of Brooks, right? Who only when he had tested freedom realized how comfortable or enslaved he was to the system. And as they said, he was institutionalized. That's why he couldn't survive on the outside. But in this case, not only because of his innocence, but his general feeling that life is meant to be lived in freedom, Dufresne is pushing against the walls, pounding against those barriers to get out and be free. Obviously, he doesn't, the character anyway, maybe Stephen King, I don't know, I didn't read the book, or the novella, it doesn't mean to suggest that freedom is outside of prison, because there's that, and like I said, really truly one of the most unforgettable all cinematic scenes when he plays that aria from The Marriage of Figaro, the Mozart piece, and all the prisoners are spellbound. It's very, okay, I get it, but they're spellbound, and like Red says, I don't know what those two Italian women were singing about, I don't want to know, but for a moment everyone at Shawshank felt free. That freedom is a state within. And I think that's what Jesus is saying all throughout the Gospels, and in the totality of his message, is that he brings freedom to those who are in the most lost places of life. Of course, to those who are in prison. And as the Apostle Paul says later on, go to those who are in prison, minister to the incarcerated, and we should. But Jesus is proposing a sort of freedom that happens in here, that happens inside the walls of our lives. But of course, that freedom and that realization of our sin propels us forward, propels us to dig through the slime, like in this case, to go through the very worst to feel the rain on our face, right? Just like in the movie, he goes through the very worst to be truly and totally free. That's good news, but it also suggests a very difficult work, a very difficult work for us, and of course a very difficult work for Jesus, by whose merit, his passion and resurrection, we can attain freedom at all. We can get to a place of freedom in our lives. Your thoughts? Say it.
I guess we'll just agree to disagree on this one. I can see what you're saying, though. I'm not.
What are you disagreeing with?
I'm not disagreeing with the points that you've made about redemption and whatnot. Just that you like this movie and I didn't
We're not disagreeing about that.
really. Huh? we
Yeah.
disagree about whether the film was personally enjoyable.
Sure. We'll watch it again tomorrow. We'll just try it again. Okay. You said you were enjoying it. I asked you, but that wasn't very far into it, so maybe you had not become jaded yet. Fair enough. Fair enough. Any pregnancy type updates for our friends before we say goodnight?
24 weeks along. Still today. Still Saturday. We got a jogging stroller that's there behind us. So that's exciting. It was from a yard sale.
Thank you, yard sale people.
Yeah.
And there's our practice baby. A little. Is it a unicorn? Is it a? I guess it could be a unicorn.
I think it's a horse. There's no horn on it. Yeah.
The dog. It's like a.
It's blue and pink. So.
Gender neutral.
Gender could. Yeah.
All right. Well, coming up, maybe the next one will be more to your liking. What is number 71, Tori? You know what it is? Off the top of your head?
I have no idea.
Neither do I. Whoa!
Saving Private Ryan. Well, you know what? I
So
saw that
good.
once. I will let you watch that by yourself this time around.
It's so good.
One time seeing people get blown up that much was enough. But you were right. It is very good. I just don't need to see it again.
That is what I've got to talk about because that's the realm that movie broke into, and that's what people say about it the most. Is it's so good but so violent and gory. How do they land together? Unlike Pulp Fiction, 1994, which is very gory, but its qualities were not as redeeming as Saving Private Ryan. But we'll turn to Steven Spielberg next time, dear friends. Number 71, Saving Private Ryan. This was number 72, The Shawshank Redemption. Tori gives it 1.5 thumbs down, but Eric, of course, gives it 5 fingers up. So there you go. Closing thoughts. Time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Time for a bedtime story.
Time to go to sleep.
We also, quickly, before we get to 20 minutes, which is 2 times the allotted minutes, we want to wish our best congratulations to our friends.
Congratulations. Becca and Corin got married.
They did. Also to my friend Kelsey, who got married today. And I think Bogey, our friend who was at Jenna's wedding, is getting married today or within a week. So
Cool.
it's the triptych of marriages, and so it's good to be married to you, and it's good that they're married to each other. So praise the Lord for that. Little kiss. That was a very humble kiss. I appreciate it. Big kiss. That was the same kind of kiss.
No, it was a little bit longer.
All right, friends. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe if you care to. Okay, the channel is here for your enjoyment, and I truly do hope you're enjoying. Thanks, everyone.